So welcome to Nissan Formula E. I'm going to show you around the garage a little bit, talk to you about our cars and drivers, a little bit about why Nissan is racing in Formula E first. So Nissan came into the championship 5 seasons ago at the beginning of Generation 2 in Season 5. And we came in with a lot of expertise in creating EV powertrains for the road. And we used that expertise to create the powertrains for our Generation 2 Formula E cars. So we came in with what we call a road-to-track approach, using our EV expertise to create the powertrains. But now we've been in Formula E for a few seasons, and as we come into Generation 3 with our new cars here, we're now switching that road-to-track approach to more of a track-to-road approach. So now we have engineers embedded in the team who are constantly taking the learnings that we have from 4 years of racing in Formula E on energy management, brake-by-wire, all the regeneration systems, all the things that you find in the Nissan Leaf and the Nissan Ariya. We're now taking code from our race cars, and that's going full circle back into the road car program. So we've now got what we call a track-to-road approach. The cars are greatly improved for Generation 3, so for Season 9 we've got a brand new car, we've got 2 brand new drivers, and now Nissan wholly own the team. So that's why we have this lovely Sakura design on the car. So we have the Japanese cherry blossom, and that's to signify a new era in Formula E. With those 3 things I mentioned, new car, 2 new drivers and wholly owned team. So the steering wheel is also a stock item that all the teams have to use, but how the teams program the digital dash or the computer inside and the button layout is up to each team. So some highlights, we have brake balance here, so if the driver wants to go forward or back with the brake balance, they might do that a number of times a lap, then that's nice and comfortable for their thumbs. Regeneration strength here. And then for more complex changes, when they talk to their engineer on the radio, which is the button here, the engineer may give them a command they need to do, which is in code, so they may say Sarah +2 confirm. So they go to this switch, Sarah +2, so 2 clicks on the paddle, which is like the keyboard, and then this is like the right mouse click. So Sarah +2 confirm, and then they radio back to say the driver has made that change. Different scenarios, so this is like the map, the power level of the car. The attack mode button for arming the attack mode before going over the attack mode zone to get the extra power. Speed limiters for both the pit lane and if there's a full course yellow, so it controls the speed of the car. And then the paddles, no gears in Formula E, so we have only one gear, so we don't need this for shifting gear. This is for making selections on the steering wheel. And these are the regeneration paddles, so these don't click, these are nice linear panels that the driver can pull and they can tune to their liking to give them regeneration under braking. So very complex, over 7,000 euros to buy one of these steering wheels. And the driver, not only do they have to drive very quickly around between concrete walls at up to 300 kilometers an hour with their engineer talking, and they've got lots of other cars around them as well, whilst also making changes to the settings. So it's very complex inside the Formula E cockpit. So let's talk about the cars. So the chassis, the bodywork, the wheels and tyres, the front suspension, the batteries are what we call control parts. So all of the teams have to use those parts. But at the back of the car, we have what we call the powertrain. That's the part that makes our Nissan Formula E cars Nissan. So within that powertrain, we have the inverter, which converts the DC power in the battery to AC, the MGU, which is the motor generation unit, which not only propels the car, but also regenerates energy back into the battery, and the gearbox and rear suspension. So those parts are the hardware that make the Nissan Formula E cars Nissan. Software though is just as important. We have engineers on that side of the garage, so over the wall there, who are constantly working on the software and the coding, as I mentioned before, and updating that every session. And every session we learn new things. They download the information from the car using the cables there which go on the gantry across to the engineers. They work on the code, they update the software, and then it comes back into the car for the next session. A big change for this year in Generation 3 is we now have a powertrain in the front of the car there. So you can see it there. And that's a stock powertrain that all of the manufacturers have to use. Now this powertrain doesn't propel the car at the front, it only regenerates energy at the front. And what that means is now instead of 250 kilowatts of regeneration, which we had in season 8 with the Generation 2 car, now with the Generation 3 car, with that regeneration on the front and the rear axle, we now have 600 kilowatts going back into the battery, which has meant they've been able to make the batteries smaller. And even though we're now more power, we have 350 kilowatts, which is around 470 horsepower. Even though we have more power and we're using more energy, because we're regenerating so much energy, they're able to make the batteries smaller, because we can now generate over 40% of the energy needed for the race under braking using those regeneration systems. So that makes these cars amongst the most efficient on the planet. So we're here racing in India for the first time, and the drivers are very much looking forward to racing here. We've just had our first session on track, the shakedown session. We've now got pre-practice 1 coming up shortly, and then we'll go into race day where we have free practice 2, qualifying, the duels and the race all in one day. So it's going to be very exciting, and we're very much looking forward to seeing the fans come out to watch it.